Networking Dev, where code meets connection. In today's video, we are starting our networking journey by creating a basic network inside Cisco Packet Tracer. If you're new to Packet Tracer or networking in general, this tutorial will walk you through everything step by step, from adding devices to configuring IP addresses and testing connectivity. So grab your Packet Tracer and let's get started. Before we begin, let's quickly talk about what Cisco Packet Tracer is. Well, this is a powerful network simulation tool created by Cisco, and it allows students and network engineers to design, configure, and troubleshoot computer networks virtually without needing to actually purchase physical networking devices. This makes it perfect for practicing CCNA labs, more so for those who are going after certifications, building networks, simulating networks, and coming up with network topologies and architectures. Well, before we kick off with building our simple network, we are going to basically have a network with 3 or 4 devices. We are going to have 3 end devices, which are computers, and a switch. A switch is going to be the center of this network, enabling computers to connect with each other and share resources. So we are going to come right here under network devices and look for switches. Then get there, we're going to use this particular switch, and we shall drag it here. So I'm going to place it in the middle of our screen right here. So you might be wondering why I have chosen this particular switch. Well, the Cisco 3650 switch is one of the commonest models you will find in enterprise and educational environment. It's a layer 3 switch, which means it can perform both switching and basic routing functions, unlike the layer 2 switches that can only handle data within the same network. So even though in this simple lab we are only going to do basic LAN switching using this particular switch, it enables us, basically gives us a platform for future videos when we start dealing with complex topics like VLANs, inter-VLAN routing, and DHCP configurations. So with that out of the way, I am going to go ahead and now drop, we're going to use 4 computers, 3 and 4. Yes, so we have our devices in place. We have the switch and our 4 end devices, which are the 4 computers. Now, for these to communicate, we are going to need some sort of connection, and we are going to use in real life what we call Ethernet cables. Yeah, so I'm going to come back right here, and we shall get under this lightning icon, click on connections, and we choose the copper straight through cable. There are various types of cables, but we shall see what they do with time. The copper straight through cable is our normal Ethernet cable. Yeah, so I'll select that, click on this, our first computer, select our first Ethernet port, connect it right there, connect it to our switch. We're going to connect it to port 1 on our switch. We do the same for the rest. Port 2, port 3, and finally port 4. So as you can see, we have our computers connected to our switch, but they are on each cable. We have 2 red, should I call them shapes, triangles? We have 2 red triangles on each cable, meaning there is no connection there and there's no data transfer. Basically, the network is not functional yet. And that is true because when you click on this and you are trying to configure, well, you can see this is our switch. Yeah, this is our switch. So when we try to click on anything, let me say configuration, yeah, we will say a device must be turned on. So we are going to come right here, select AC power supply, drag and drop our power supply here. Yeah, and once that is done, we shall come back here, and within a few seconds we're going to have our switch turned on, and as you can see now, they have changed color. We have green and orange, meaning now our network is actually functional. Yeah, but to test that, we are going to need to actually do some bit of configuration. Yeah, meaning we are going to go through each particular device and do change a few settings so that our end devices are functional as far as this network is concerned. So when you click on, I've clicked on the first computer here, and we have this pop up. So we are going to we're going to configure our computer so that we assign it an IP address, and yes, because right now our switch is not configured to run to have the DHCP, which automatically assigns IP addresses to devices that connect to a computer. So we're going to have manual IP configuration. So I'm going to go to configuration right here, and we have the default gateway DNS server. We are going to revisit this. Let me rename this to computer 1. Then we have our networking interfaces. The under interface, we have Bluetooth, and we have fast Ethernet, which we use to connect to the switch. So we have a MAC address, and this MAC address is basically assigned to the NIC, which is the network interface card of every particular computer on our network. But for easy identification, I'm going to change this to 1, and all right. Then I'm going to assign this computer an IP address of 192.168.0.1. Okay, let me do that. .1.1. Then I'm going to assign it a subnet mask of it has automatically been assigned. That's nice. Yeah, so to confirm that our settings have actually been we have successfully configured this particular computer, we're going to come to desktop and check our terminal here. We're going to open the terminal. Okay, and I'm going to run a command called ipconfig. So what ipconfig does is did I open the right terminal? Oh, no, I think this is what I needed. Yes, this is what I needed. ipconfig. So yes, I was explaining what ipconfig does. So this command basically gives us details about the connectivity of our computer to the networks. Yeah, so we get our IP addresses, the subnet, the default gateway, all those details. We have them. You can access them when you run the ipconfig command actually. And as you can see, we have our IP address, the one we have set, 192.168, and I actually made an error somewhere there. I'm going to change this to 168.1.1.1. So come back to our desktop and run ipconfig again. Yes, so we have the correct value here as our IP address for this particular computer and the subnet mask. If some of these details ain't making sense, just ignore them for now. We are going to cover them in detail in future videos. So with that out of the way, I am going to come back here to my screen and do the very same thing for the rest of the computers. And yeah, I'm going to come here. I'm going to assign this. The other one was, this is going to be 2. I'm going to assign this 192.168.1.2 and the subnet mask that is already assigned. We do the confirmation by running ipconfig, and yes, our assignment was successful. We are going to, we didn't rename it. Going to do some renaming here as computer 2. Computer 2. Nice. So we are going to do the very same thing for the remaining 2 computers. Config, this is computer 3. change this to 03.333.333. Alright, then we have 192.168.1.3 and a subnet mask. Confirm, IP config, and yes, and our final computer. So this is computer 4. Computer 4. We need to was it was 4.444.444 and 192.168.1.4. all right, and our final confirmation test, which is IP config. All right, so as you can see, we have finished configuring our devices, assigning IP addresses to all connected computers. So we can now go ahead and try to see if indeed there is communication going on between these different devices. So as you can see, I am on the fourth computer, as you can tell by our IP address. So I want to test if this computer can actually connect to our first computer. So I'm going to use a command called ping, and I actually do enter the IP address of the first computer. And yes, as you can see, our connection is successful. We are actually getting a response from computer 1. So we are pinging this IP address, which is the IP address of our first computer, and we're actually getting a reply, meaning there is a connection between computer 4 and computer 1. I'm going to do the same for computer 2. And yes, computer 2 is responding, computer 3. And we are actually receiving responses from all the other 3 computers. So what happens when you try to look for a connection for a computer that does not exist on our network? I'm going to try being maybe the 7th computer, but remember, on our network we only have 4. So what happens is, as you can see, I'm not getting a response. It is basically lagging, yeah. And we have a request timed out, no response from that IP address, meaning that IP address does not exist on our network. So we're going to exit that, and yes, so that basically shows that basically with all those tests successful, that basically shows that our network is complete and the computers can actually share resources. Yeah, in the next video we are going to add the server to the mix so that we can actually fetch resources from the server and share them across the network. That's it. Thank you for following through. If this has been helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the Networking Dev, and turn on the bell so you don't miss out the next tutorial. Thank you for watching, and remember, keep coding, configuring, and connecting. Thank you.